I wanted to go ahead and take a moment or a class period to go over the evangelism model as we will be doing. Guys that I handed those pamphlets out to, if y'all would go around and pass those out. If everybody could get one of these handouts, one of these, they're called training cards. Make sure everybody gets one. We'll be referencing that. But I wanted to go ahead and do that this week because beginning on Sunday, we're going to be, as you know, this past Sunday we finished out our sermon series in Mark, and this upcoming Sunday we're going to be beginning our big evangelism push, and we're going to be beginning some of our training, and some of our training that's going to be happening is going to be on Sunday mornings in the worship and during our sermon time. And so we'll be beginning that this upcoming Sunday. We'll have some other training that involves Bible class time throughout the year. But I wanted to, before we entered into our training that's going to be happening during the worship service, I wanted to go over the evangelism model. And it's so important for us to understand this model. And what this model is going to show us is the big picture of what we're going to be trying to do here as we are making this evangelism push. And I know many of us were encouraged by the seminar. Before I get into really presenting anything here, if you were at the seminar or you watched the seminar videos online, what were some of the things that, let me think of the best way to phrase this question. What would you say were the big takeaway points from the seminar week that we had, the 8 lessons that we had? What were some of the big points that we could take away from that seminar? Anybody, what are some of the big points from the seminar? Yeah, sending cards. Yeah, okay, so a big point of emphasis is, hey, we're going to be sending a lot of cards. Good. What else? It could be big picture. It could be big picture of what the goal is, or it could be a more narrow picture of just something that stood out to you. Okay, so sending cards, Jared. Yeah, connecting with people.
Utilize a significant life event to build a relationship.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll talk about all these things. Yeah, utilize a significant life event in order to form a connection. That's great. What else? Big points from the seminar. Sorry, what? Don't answer a question. Oh yeah. Okay, I was like, don't answer questions. You answered my question. Don't answer. There are certain questions that it's okay to punt on and reserve that question for later. Okay, good. What are maybe some bigger picture? Okay, these are a lot of the individual. What are maybe some bigger picture items that were brought up at the seminar? I think more big picture.
It's easy. You create relationships and present the 3 booklets with them and let them answer the questions in it.
Yeah.
First one is about Christ.
First one's about authority, which is the Bible and Christ, basically. Yeah, it's okay. That's why we're training and everything. But yes, okay. So Karen brings up the booklets, and yes. So the personal Bible studies is a huge aspect of this, and she brings up the 3 booklets. The booklets are, the first one's on the authority of Scripture. The second one's on the Church of Christ. The third one's on salvation. So she brings up the booklets, and yeah, the booklets are big, and really what the booklets are accomplishing is the Bible studies, personal Bible studies. That is, to me, the big thrust of what the seminar was about, was everybody needs to be involved or seeking for a way to be involved in personal Bible studies. And so that's one of the big things. Any other big picture things? Yeah. Yeah, so Beth brings up one of the first big points that he made was, hey, if we don't do something, then by the year 2069, the church, if the numbers continue as it's on, will be completely gone from the United States of America, which is something we don't want. So there needs to be something done, which is a great segue into why it is we're doing what we're doing, okay? And that is going through this evangelism model. So what we're going to be doing tonight is going through the entire model, getting a big picture of it, looking for opportunities for us to be involved. Really, it's an opportunity for the entire congregation to understand the processes that we're going to be going through when it comes to evangelism. and what we're going to be doing here. So this is, there we go. This is the model, and on the card that you got, on one side of the card is this evangelism model. I'll go to the one that's in more detail in a second. Within the evangelism model, if you start on between 12 and 1 o'clock on the gray contacts list, the church is going to be populating a mass amount of contacts, And one way for us to think about what we're going to be doing is if you can picture a funnel, okay? If you can picture a funnel, all right? And funnels are wide at the top, they narrow as they go down. When we are thinking about how it is that we are going to have a structure to our evangelism, it is like a funnel, where at the top of the funnel, we're casting a very wide net. And we're going to try to think of as many people as we possibly can, very wide. As we go through all of these points, it's like a funnel and it's becoming more narrow. So the first thing that we have are contacts, and these are people that you are going to make. The entire congregation is involved in creating contacts, and we'll go into all these more in depth. The entire congregation is going to be involved in creating contacts. Once we have contacts, we will take a certain percentage of those contacts and move them further down the funnel as it narrows into prospects. So that's going to be a smaller number. Prospects are the ones that we are actively working with. Those are the ones that we are sending cards to, that maybe we're visiting, that we are trying to actively engage with, so that it leads to, as we progress down the funnel, a smaller number, even from that prospects number, as it leads to Bible studies. We're going to have a smaller number that we are in Bible studies with, an even smaller number, maybe hopefully not that small of a number that goes from Bible studies to baptisms. Baptisms being new Christians, and new Christians are these new converts, and as new converts we want to take care of the new converts, and then it's a cycle of a growing church. Okay, so you probably can't read on here, where's my card at? But on your evangelism card, the model of evangelism, it'll have on here that you can see up close a few of the options for ways that we create contacts or farm for prospects, those kinds of things. So that's what we're going to be going through, is each one of these steps and what it's going to look like on a congregational level. Okay, I'm really putting myself out here with this next slide, okay? So this is the congregational evangelism model. Okay, the congregational evangelism model. So my next slide, man, I hope some of you get this. Does anybody know what this is from? No? Who knows what this is from? All right. This is from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the gang rolls up to Camelot, and they're all saying Camelot, and they're so excited because they're right there in front of Camelot, and there's always a naysayer in the group, and the naysayer of the group says, "It's only a model." And he's naysaying. He's trying to rain on the parade. And as we go into the evangelism model that we are going to be discussing, at different points you are going to be a naysayer, okay? And you are going to want to say, it's only a model, okay? And I get that. I get why maybe some ideas would pop into our heads of why we don't want to do this, of why it's silly that we're doing this. And my encouragement would be to trust the process. And we have a model for a reason. We have and the reason is because what's the current model? Yeah, and whether it's on a United States level, the Churches of Christ, or whether it's on the Hartselle Church of Christ level, we recognize that there is a need for something, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways that we could feel the need for something. This is the way that we've chosen, okay? So we recognize there is a need for something. This is while there are many somethings we could have chosen and attacked, this is one that we feel really good about. And it's one that if we can trust the process to some degree and work the system to some degree, it will have its benefits. It's not going to be perfect, but it will have its benefits. And the goal of this model is what we really love. The goal of this model is to get the entire congregation involved in evangelism. And it's not solely on the shoulders of elders and ministers and deacons. Okay, this is the entire congregation that's going to be involved. Okay, let's look at our first. Now that I've wasted almost too much time, let's look at our first item here of contacts. Contacts. The first level of contacts, and this is going to happen this coming Sunday, is you are going to get a bookmark. And if you were at the seminar, I think Rob talked. I'll be honest, I have been so much into the training, and I've been hearing things from online and at the seminar and in one-on-one discussions with Rob. I can't remember what I heard where. Okay, so there's a good chance I'm going to be presenting on stuff that was at the seminar, but just hang with us. Okay, everyone Sunday is going to get a bookmark. And hopefully the goal is everyone at all times for the foreseeable future, as long as evangelism is our goal, and this is the model that we're using, is you will be in possession of a bookmark. This is not something that you get one time and you're done with it and you never look at it again. This is something that you are meant to hang on to, keep, use. We will have plenty if you need another one, is to get one of these. And what you're going to do with this is Sunday, we're going to get up with this card. Everybody's going to get a card, and we're going to ask you to write down 10 contacts. And with a bookmark, you are going to identify 10 people in your life who need the gospel. And so that is one way that we will generate personal contacts. These are contacts that are personal to you. Now, while they are on your bookmark, that does not mean the congregation is necessarily doing anything. In fact, the congregation is probably not doing anything to pursue those people. The only person doing anything to pursue those people is you. And sometimes that pursuit is very active. And sometimes that pursuit is being patient and waiting for the right opportunity to interject yourself into their life and to present to them the things that they need to have presented to them for them to obey the gospel. So you have these bookmarks, and these are to form personal contacts. The goal is to get them to move from personal contacts into congregational contacts. So for instance, what one thing we'll do, and, you'll have your 10 people here, and we will mine. At the beginning of this process, we're going to do some mining. We're going to mine for contacts. You will have your 10, and on Sunday morning, I don't know what yet, but we might get up and we might say, out of the 10 people on your cards, does anybody have someone who is actively going through a battle with cancer? And we'll have some people in our congregation who will raise their hand. We will bring them a contact card. And they will fill out that contact card with information. And that contact card is no longer personal. That gets submitted to the church. And at that point, that information comes into the systems that we have in place. And those people will be added potentially to our prospect list to where they are actively being engaged. Let me also say this. There is so much to this model that we are going to be implementing that this is going to be a slow process. It'll probably be a full year before we are fully running this system. There's going to be things that we do step by step, and it's going to be working over the next few months, but it'll be a full year, I bet, before this system is fully working. Okay, so you'll make a transition from personal contacts into contacts that are been put onto a card and submitted to the church for potential to become prospects. Once that happens, they will be added to this prospect list, which is printed every week, and everybody at our congregation has the prospect list available to them. This is a public list. It'll have some information there on who those prospects are, and we will have different ways that we try to engage these. But I just wanted you, and again, this is what's on the back of you've had the model on one side. The other side has the information of the contacts bookmark, the contacts card, which leads to a congregational list. So that's part of the process of how we get to move some people from contacts to prospect. There's other ways that we do that, but this is primarily going to be the way. And this is going to be so good for us. You need to take this, I hope you take this seriously. I know some of the stuff we're doing is a bit gimmicky. Oh, I got to write people's name on a card, and then I got to wait for something to happen to them before I can interject myself. I get that there's some gimmick to it, but it's a proven process that works. And again, what are we doing before this? Okay, and for a lot of us, the answer is nothing. Well, let this be your something. Okay, if nothing was your answer of what you're doing before for evangelism, let this start to be your something. Okay. Yes. Okay.
I have already started.
Good.
And do I have to put
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have not placed membership yet. They are newly,
Mm-hmm.
they just newly moved here.
Yeah.
Do I still have to put his name on
Yes, I would wait. So we don't have any systems currently in place of what this system really is meant to be. So this is something that we are actively building together right now. So it's good that you're already doing some things, but it's not fulfilling what we are going to be putting in place. Okay. All right. So other ways that we are going to generate contacts is when people visit us. When people come in, they're a first-time visitor. We're going to try to generate information there. And we'll have people who are dedicated in this role of taking care of visitors. And we have to figure out, are you local? Are you passing through? If you're passing through, we're really glad you're with us, but you're not going to be in the need for us to locally evangelize you, okay, if you're just passing through. But if you are local, then you're going to be added to this system. We're going to try to get your information so that we can follow up in the ways that I'm going to mention. House to house, heart to heart, we've started doing this, and it's now being circulated within the city of Hartselle, and it's going to have our church information on there. It's going to have pertinent information to the churches of Christ. We have the opportunity to add information to it. If we ever have an event going on, we can add that information to the house to house, heart to heart. A lot of you know what this already is, but we need systems in place for what happens when someone gets a house to house, heart to heart, and they want to know about the Church of Christ. What happens? We have to have a system in place for that. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to be bringing up a lot of things that we're potentially going to be doing, but it's in the hopes of generating some kind of interest on your end because we need your help. The New Movers program, I think if you were at the seminar, if you've listened to lessons, we've talked about this a lot, but when people move into the city of Hartselle, we receive their information. We now have access to their name and their address and the date that they moved in on. So we're going to be pursuing new movers. Door knocking, and by the way, this PowerPoint was created by Rob, so I am presenting Rob's PowerPoint here. And that's why Rob's kids are on this. I didn't stalk his Facebook and steal a photo and put them on here, but I've never been one for door knocking. I used to think it was mostly a thing that is to be left in the past. I no longer believe that. I really think we need to be involved in more door knocking for the right reasons in the right way. And sometimes that right reason might be for us to canvass the community and say, we are with the Hartselle Church of Christ and we are praying for people today. Is there any way that we can pray for you? And then sometimes it might be knocking on someone's door and inviting them to an event that we're having, the more traditional kind of door knocking. But we have some training in this area as well. There's some other ways that we try to generate contacts. All right, here is some of our outreach events, and these events generate a huge amount of information. And this is where I'm going to admit failure to you, and I hope you judge gracefully, okay? We have events like our trunk or treat. 2 years ago at our trunk or treat, we collected a mass amount of information. After that, a mass amount of information. I mean, Mark, do you remember how many names we collected 2 years ago? Was it? Yeah, I mean, it was at least 600 bits of contact information that we generated. And we had no system in place for what do we do when that happens? What do we do when we get that kind of information? And it came to me. You know what I did with it? Nothing. I didn't do anything with it. It was overwhelming, and I couldn't do anything with it. So it filed away. It sat on my desk, and every day I went and I sat at my desk and I looked at the list and I thought, I need to be doing something with this. But it was such an undertaking, I never did. So I felt guilty every day. I just sat at my desk and I looked at that list and I would feel guilty. And nothing ever got done with it. But that's why we're implementing a system that will have its role where there's a lot more room for help, and for if one fails, other can pick up the slack. So we're going to be generating some contact information through these other events that we have. And one thing that Rob talks about is viewing everything. I shouldn't use this because I'm already using funnel in another context, but he says view everything through an evangelism funnel. As in everything that goes on in our church goes through the pipeline of evangelism. We always have our eyes open for opportunities to evangelize. Next on the model is prospects. That's what's next on the model. Rob has, since these were printed, Rob has color coordinated the model, and the model there for prospects on the screen is brown because it's representing soil. And it's soil that we are going to try to work to create growth. So again, we're going to have a mass amount of contacts. Just do some quick math, okay? We have about 300 people that are normally with us on Sunday mornings. If everybody generates a contact card with 10 people, that's a lot of names. It's a lot of information. We're not going to try to attack those all at once. We're going to narrow it down as we go. So those that we prospect will be a much smaller number. And one way that we do that is through cards. So prospects are people that we, again, are actively engaging, trying to bring about a positive. When they think of the Hartselle Church of Christ, they think something positive, okay? And prospects are not people who, for a while, people might be on our prospect list and we never ask them for a Bible study, never ask them for anything. We just engage them in some way to the point to where they have a positive idea of what the Hartselle Church of Christ is. So we engage them, bring about a good name for ourselves, and then hopefully that creates a good surface when we later on approach them about potentially studying the Bible together. So here's some ways that we prospect. We're going to prospect through sending cards, as what was already mentioned, and we'll be sending lots of cards. In fact, as we think about the systems that we're going to be put in place, there's going to be opportunities where we approach individuals about joining certain teams, and the surveys that we handed out and what you filled out on the survey, you know, that's going to be really helpful for us as we are trying to plug people into the right kind of roles, and there'll be opportunities to volunteer for things. But every member of this congregation is going to be assigned to a card group. Everybody is going to be assigned to a card group, and we hope that everybody participates. But everybody's going to be assigned to a group that writes cards and have the opportunity to write cards. Again, that's a structure that's going to happen later on down the road, but it's coming. One way we mine prospects or till the ground with prospects is by engaging with them and asking them out to a meal. Maybe it's because they've been at worship and we ask them to a meal. Maybe it's someone on your kid's ball team and you decide to ask them to a meal just to bring about a deeper relationship. We're going to mine for prospects, till the ground as we seek to help out in different ways within our community and love our neighbors. Rob has on here, home is where you find the heart. Okay, so it's not just home is where the heart is, but home is where you find the heart. There is something different when you go into someone's home, okay? And there's something different when you have people into your home. Sometimes it's funny, you can go a very long time seeing someone at work or maybe even at church, but then you see them in their own home and that's where they're comfortable. And it's almost like you're engaging a totally different person. And it's the same way when you have people into your house. There's more vulnerability. The walls are let down. There is something powerful about having people into your home and going into homes. And we are going to be promoting this. And Savannah and I have already talked. We're going to be having more people into our house. And I am like you, where there's a million different reasons why I try to come up with why we shouldn't have people over to our house. And I'm going to move past that, and I hope you will too. And we're going to be having and engaging people in our homes. And I say this, again, this is from the angle of evangelism, but we're going to be doing this too we just need to be having more people in our home. I need to have more of my church family in my home, not just those that I'm trying to have Bible studies with. But that's a different subject. There's still a lot of planning that needs to go on, but integral to this process of when people are prospects is having something like Mission Monday or Transition Thursday is what Rob calls them. But this is one day a month where you meet together as teams and you make a plan for, okay, we have been sending this person cards for 4 weeks. It is time for us to try to visit their home and try to cash in on the goodwill that we have been showing them. And we're going to go to their home and we're going to find a good way to bring up that we want to have a Bible study with them. Okay, so congregationally, this opportunity is there for people to gather together. For those that, and I say we need lots of help, but there's actually it's a smaller group of people who are actually the ones who go to people's homes. We'll get more into that when we get to actually implementing this stuff. But we will be having something like Mission Monday, that could be incorporated into something like what we used to do with Mondays for the Master, that kind of thing. But we're going to be doing some planning of who's going where. What are we going to say? What are we going to bring them? How is it that we are going to connect with them in order that we can bring the gospel to them? All right, which leads us to Bible studies. One of the first things you'll see us do is, and probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll have an evangelism table out in, I think we're going to put it in the Common Grounds area. We'll have an evangelism table out, and it'll have material on it that is for the purpose of evangelism. That's going to be useful for our members to be able to have access to and to understand and to feel equipped. The thing I want us to take notice of is this box that's in the middle. Okay, we will have some sort of box there, and what will be in front of the box will be contact cards. Okay, every week you will have the opportunity to fill out a contact card. So while at the beginning we will congregationally be mentioning this in front of the congregation, trying to mine for these and to get you to bring these up, as the system goes on, you will write these contact cards out yourself and you will put them into the box as your personal contacts need to be moved into the prospect arena, or to be considered to be moved into the prospect arena. So you'll fill out you will always have the opportunity. The opportunity will always be there for you to fill out a card and drop it in the box. That box will be checked every week, and we will be generating lists every week based off of that box and some other things. We're going to have training that goes on. Some of this training will be in the pulpit. Some of the training will be in Bible class times. Some of the training, depending on what the role is and what we are training for, will be through an online portal that we have through the School of Evangelism, through what Rob does. But very few will really have access to that. But there is training. That's the main thing. We are going to be equipping our. I don't want to get up here and be like, hey, we should congregationally evangelize the lost. Now go and do it. Like, that's not going to be our philosophy. Our philosophy is we're going to evangelize the lost. Here's how we're going to do it. Here are the tools that you need to do that. Here's how you will feel comfortable doing that, even though I know almost all of us don't feel comfortable doing that. All sorts of training. Bible studies need to happen in homes. There's alternatives, but the goal should be to have a Bible study in someone's home, because there is something more meaningful about doing it in the home. When I'm realizing I'm missing things from this slide, these slideshows, it doesn't matter. But everything that I've gone over has its own training card, okay? Everything that I've gone over has its own training card. So we're going to be going through these things again on a smaller scale. Like, we'll spend a whole week training on how we interact with visitors. And when we do that, I'll have a contact card. I'll have one of these cards that I will hand out as we go through our training of what is a visitor. It'll be like this. And I think those are supposed to be in the slideshow, but they're not, which is totally fine. Baptisms, we hope to have a lot of baptisms. We hope to really increase our baptism number, because we want people to be committed to the Lord. We want people to experience the salvation that comes through baptism. And what we're going to do with this, that Rob put on here, congregational joy, is we want to celebrate baptisms. When something good happens, it's people, I think it's Andy Stanley said, what gets celebrated gets repeated. And there is something too, I don't know if you've probably noticed before, and this will be something that I've mentioned when I'll teach on baptism in a couple weeks. Baptisms tend to come in spurts, don't they? Yeah, because there's something about, I saw someone put on Christ in baptism, and it provokes a reaction for those that witness it. And that reaction is twofold. Right? That reaction is for the lost. And when the lost see someone put Christ on in baptism, they're like, oh, maybe I need to do that. And that reaction is also for the saved. And when we see someone put Christ on in baptism, we say, we want to see that again. I want to see that happen again. the effort that we're putting in, that the way that the Lord is empowering this congregation is really working. I want to keep working toward that. So we're going to be celebrating our baptisms, a pizza party for every baptism. I'm kidding. We're not going to do a pizza party for every baptism. What I mean by this is when someone has put Christ on in baptism, whether it was in worship or outside of worship, we're going to put their picture on the screen. We're going to talk about who it was that had Bible study with them, how it was that they came to know the Lord. We're going to celebrate it because it's something worth celebrating. Hopefully, we're going to be, as we go through this process, and again, it's going to be slow, but hopefully, this is going to be generating new converts for our congregation, which means we need to be equipping those converts. We need to have systems in place for, and I've been part of it. I've been part of churches before that have done efforts like this, and after someone hits the water and they come out, they're thrown in with the big fish. They're just like everybody else. Okay, and what do they need? Oftentimes they need some hand-holding, and they need some help. They need some discipling. And so we're going to have a new converts class, and we've already got some material. We've already got people who have volunteered to teach that, and people who are already thinking about that. I'm excited about a new converts class. It's going to be wonderful. We need some people who will just be willing to sit around new Christians. We need some people to teach this class, but we're going to have new converts, and we're going to need to teach them. We're going to need mentors. We're going to need people to be willing to say, I'm willing to just hang out with a new Christian. Because, and to me, this is the most important thing when it comes to new converts, is they need mentors. And mentors are not people who have to have every biblical answer and have to have deep spiritual conversations. Mentors are often just friends. Just, I know if I'm going through this, I've got this person I can rely on. I've got this person that I can connect with when I come into church and I don't feel like an outsider after I've been an outsider. I can come there and I can connect with this person. So mentoring is going to be important. We're going to have systems in place for that. Under the growing church section, there's just all sorts of further training that we'll offer, and being partnered with the School of Evangelism, they offer a lot of that training and troubleshooting with some of our methods. So there'll be opportunities for further training. And just to show you a little bit of this, this is the website that I've been working through for the last month. And I can't describe to you how much training there is in this website. And I've been trying to immerse myself into this training and understanding this system. And there's a lot that goes with it. And that's a really good thing. And more people, as we implement these things, more people will have access to this website and this portal. And there's a lot there, and we are not people who are going to be ill-equipped. All right, if this fails, it's not because we weren't equipped in the right way. We might have some poor leadership, we might have some poor buy-in, but it won't be because of an equipment failure. I have a huge checklist I'm working through right now. These are all the coordinator positions. There's several, and these are the kinds of things that we're working on right now is coordinating in these areas. All right, what we'll end with here is looking at this model, just to give you some numbers of what Rob has seen work. Right, these are the kind of numbers that Rob sees work. Man, there is something not right in what I'm clicking, or didn't send the PowerPoint right. All right. Each member creates 10 contacts, and I guess I'll just look at our actual numbers. Okay. So and I know we won't create 3,000 contacts, but we'll be close. Okay. The goal is for us to be working at all times with 10% of our contact list. 10% of our contact list, which means at one time we should be working with about 30 prospects, and then it's another 10% that we are in Bible studies with at one time, and then it's 90% it's a 90% success rate if you sit down with someone for a Bible study, that will result in a baptism. So I put on there 9 out of every 10 studies should result in a baptism, which is a new convert, which we should hold on to. The growing church number is really different from, I know that new converts flows into it, but it's really different. The growing church is that we should have 10% of our church body who is involved in helping lead this effort and involved in active training and things that go on. So we should have about 30 people who are involved in helping lead this effort of entire congregational evangelism. And one other thing, I can't remember what I wanted to say here. We don't have time for questions, sorry. Text me your questions. I know there's questions, okay? I know there's questions. This is a process, and it's going to be a long process. My encouragement would be to enjoy the ride, okay? That's one thing that I've had to do to some degree is to sit back and wait and understand we really are going at this one step at a time. And if you feel lost, that's okay. You probably are for a reason. As one of my professors in college, when I was learning a new language, he says it was like, trying to take a sip from a fire hydrant. Like there's just so much coming at you. You can only take in so much at a time. And that's kind of how this is. But over time, you will become more and more comfortable with the things that we're talking about and have a deeper understanding of the things that we are talking about. Last thing I want to leave us with is within this, there is a role for everybody. Okay, within this model, there's a role for everybody. And one way to think about this is within this model, there are bringers, there are teachers, and there are keepers. Okay, everybody to some level is going to be a bringer. Okay, you are bringing people to Christ. Okay, and you're bringing people along to help them get to the next step. To some degree, everybody's going to be involved in that. I'm going to be involved in that. Can I be honest with you? I'm not a great bringer. That's not my gifting in this life, is being a bringer and an inviter. That's not my gift. But for some of you, you are more gifted in that area, and you need to shine in the bringer area. So bringers are people who, hey, come to church with me, come sit with me at church, come to this event, involving people, bringing people in. There are teachers. You want to guess which one I am? Okay. There are teachers, and these are people who I might not know what to do if. I might not know how to get you to my house, but I know what to do if I sit in front of you with a Bible, okay? I know what to do if you have questions about your faith. And there's a lot of us who are like that. We're more teacher-minded. And there's keepers. And some of you are really going to shine in this area. Building, all right? We're going to be doing a great job of opening up the front door, of really inviting people in. What we're going to need to do a better job of is closing the back door, of saying, hey, once you're in, you're here. We're not letting you out, okay? So we need keepers. We need people who are willing to partner, mentor, bring along, disciple new Christians. I'm out of time, but the last slide had some biblical examples of bringers, teachers, and keepers. There is a role for every single person. Your role might not be a personal one-on-one Bible study, but I think you can do it. But that might not be your role. But you, no matter who you are, you have a role when it comes to the evangelism model that we're going to be implementing here. And I really hope you'll buy in and look to contribute to this wonderful effort, because it will take our entire congregation. There's going to be more information. There's going to be more opportunities to get more involved. Just please hang with us and be willing to partner with us in this wonderful, wonderful effort of fulfilling the commission that Jesus has given us to seek and save the lost. Thank you for being here. I will be around for a little bit if you have any questions.